You're listening to Old Man Radio. And now back to the Christmas music. The Bureau has issued a severe weather warning for damaging winds, heavy rain and flash flooding. Residents are advised to ensure outdoor festivities are secure.
Boxing Day, 26 December. Yesterday I made a Christmas message, showed you some of the trees, some of the sound of the magpie. Well, it's quite a different morning this morning because some of those trees are no longer. Last night sitting watching TV, power goes out, storm brews. And then this is the most severe storm that I've ever been through. I mean, there was just racket, things blowing up against the windows, and there's big wide eaves here. And we just knew we were in for trouble. And sure enough, here it is. Now, our regular viewers will know that this was the shed that I was building. Two giant trees have come down, including one from the neighbour's place. So three flattened part of the shed. It may be salvageable, but you can see the damage. The fence all around. But it gets worse. This fence completely taken out. And this tree now fallen. Now that's alongside the one that fell some time back, which we've spoken about, and the one that crushed the caravan. So this whole fence has collapsed. But it gets worse. Here is where the Troopy and my trailer are parked, and they are no more. when the going gets tough. Just while we wait for the coffee to brew, probably a good time to reflect on some of the damage. Surprisingly, even though it's catastrophic, there's been some good luck as well. You know, one is that it hasn't completely flattened that shed, as you saw, so potentially that's salvageable. It hasn't hit the bus, which is a good thing. It hasn't damaged either of the family daily drivers, so that's a good thing. It's just that awful mess on the trooper, you know, which is damaged. But I think, you know, first things first, we've got to start clearing a path so we can get the vehicles in and out. At the moment we don't have any power. I'll keep you posted. I just put the drone up and captured some footage, and I must admit to not having the enthusiasm, I suppose, for doing much filming over this period, because it's been incredibly difficult. I mean, that was Christmas night, the 25th, and it's now the 29th. So we're in the 4th day of no power, no internet, and a lot of hard work. Now, I've been in touch with RACQ about the troop carrier and recovery of that, but they tell me that the tree, removing the tree, is my responsibility, and then to make matters worse, I spent a day with the chainsaw the other day and cleared the driveway, and I'll go for a walk down there in a moment. But then when I came to take it out yesterday and start it, the primer bulb had split. I managed to get hold of a new primer bulb, only to find it when I tried to replace it, the hoses, as in the little tubing that runs between the tank and the primer, had split. And one had crumbled completely. So age, you know, I mean, there's a 13-year-old chainsaw, so I suppose that's what happens. So at this stage, there's not much I can do about removing this tree. The neighbours have got stuck in and done an amazing job. But naturally, of course, I've got to try and find some way of getting this tree off the troopy. And quite how I'm going to do that at this stage I don't know, so it might be a job for somebody with much heavier equipment than I've got. The landscape has completely changed. Houses that we couldn't even see are now visible. But we did manage to clear the driveway. So we've been able to get in and out. And the neighbour has done an amazing job of cleaning up their yard, putting everything in supposedly tidy piles in preparation for burning, I suppose. What else can you do with it? So it's now the 22nd of January. A lot of time has gone by, and as I said before, I haven't had an enormous amount of enthusiasm for taking video, and there are a few reasons for that, and I'd like to discuss some of those too. But quite a lot has happened in the meantime, though not nearly as much as we'd like to think has happened given the amount of energy that's been expended. One of which is that the troopy has been recovered and gone off to the salvage yard. The trailer's gone, and we can take a look at that. And I'll post those as a separate video, that whole troopy recovery. Just focus really on this, on the impact of this storm, I suppose, and the and some other effect. Now, the trailer was damaged, as you know. The cage pretty well damaged beyond recognition. The trailer itself warped, as you can probably see in that. There's some twist in the frame, and the cleanup continues. Right now there is a chipper, a couple of fellas with a mini digger scooping up some of the stuff that's fallen across the fence, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. And we have had the building inspector out just this morning, who is looking at some of the damage, to fences, to garage roller doors, etc. So right now you can probably hear in the background the machinery as the wood chipper picks up all the stuff along the fence line, and that stuff ends up as garden mulch. Just to wrap up, I want to talk about things other than smashed fences or broken cars or whatever it was, and of course that is the personal impact of such an event. And you would have seen in those initial moments walking outside how devastating it all was, and it has a lingering effect, the actual event itself, but also of course the aftermath, and that involves things like the cleanup. Now, it's still ongoing, as you just saw, but the cleanup itself takes its own toll, both in terms of physically, because with many of the things that have gone on over the last year, as you know, with me, the treatment for prostate cancer and other ongoing medical issues. There's also the emotional impact, and that's certainly not something that you can underplay, but something we often don't necessarily even want to talk about. Some of that is tied in with the medical issues. Some of it, however, is just emotional, mental. How do you feel about all of this? The inconvenience, the loss of a vehicle, the heartbreak of seeing the damage that was done, the cleanup, the rectification, the repairs, the damage that may not necessarily be covered by an insurance or solvable with money. The Troopy was probably a bigger loss than I initially thought, and it was only because, I suppose, of the emotional elements that were tied up with it. I had built it over a period of years to be a camper. It had become, at one stage, the only vehicle that I had, so I used it all the time. I took it plenty of places. The dogs rode with me, and when I say dogs, I'm talking about Fergie as well as Millie, and in this series you've only seen Millie, of course, but Fergie was very much a part of my life for the 12 years or so until she passed in 2022. And so those things are all tied up in it as well, because when you lose the vehicle, you also lose that connection that you had, I suppose, with that life that had been associated with the vehicle, if that means anything to you at all. And so sometimes we do get emotionally attached to things, despite the fact that they might be inanimate, and in that case I certainly was attached to that car, and so therefore it was very sad to see that go. And I'll cover that recovery in a separate video so that you can see what it took to get it out of that fix. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll get this video posted up. It is the 22nd of January, so I hope to get it up soon. But today, being Monday, is exactly 4 weeks since the event on the 25th of December, Monday, 4 weeks ago. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.